war. It has been going on for several centuries, still going on today in many, many different countries. This presentation is going to be about war and the effects that the Industrial Revolution had on war technologies. I am pretty experienced in this area because I've done my own personal research, and I am looking to become a American history teacher for a profession, and you just kind of learn this stuff being interested in it. So, three main things I'm going to be talking about are travel or transportation, and weapons, and science that has gone into changing war technologies due to the Industrial Revolution. So first off, transportation. Armies would used to travel by formation, marching in formation, or riding horses and other animals, but nothing to the speed of which we travel today. So the invention of the railroad system made it easier for supplies and people to be carried across long distances in short amounts of time. So soldiers would get on to the train cars and they would be able to travel from base to base or battlefield to battlefield in relatively quick amounts of time. Another form of transportation is aircraft. The plane was the first form of air travel, and it was used mainly for recon and intelligence, not really for shooting down other planes or bombing or anything at first. It was meant to survey the battlefield and go back to base and report on what they saw, what the pilot saw. This plane was the first kind of plane that was used in a war setting in the Italo-Turkish War. I got this picture from Britannica. Another form of air transportation was the airship, or Zeppelin, as some might know it to be called. This was more for dropping munitions and bombs on enemies from above. And they were pretty hard to hit, more than you would think, because they were so high up in the air. Even though they're basically balloons, they were so far up that you couldn't really shoot them down with much. Back then, they didn't really have many long-range weapons. Speaking of weapons, the machine gun was a very important evolution in weapons during the Industrial Revolution. It basically turned offensive strategy into something pretty impossible, because machine guns would mow you down if you ever came up from, say, a trench or anything. So after the invention of the machine gun, both sides of a battle would be on the defensive, waiting for the best moment to strike. Another weapon was the tank. This tank over here is the Little Willie. They were first, it's a prototype tank that was created by the British, and it did not perform very well. It moved at about 2 miles per hour, and it could barely get over rough terrain, and it didn't do well in taking down infantry. Whereas the Big Willie, which was called the Mark I, it was much more effective on the battlefield. And I got these from the much better tanks now, which aren't used quite as often because nowadays it's more like skirmishes. There aren't massive battles in modern times right now. That brings me to science. Chemical warfare was something that wasn't too popular, but it was very, very gruesome and effective when it was used. It was started by German scientists, and many people who fell victim to chemical warfare were damaged all over their skin and their lungs in some unimaginable ways. So here's some pictures of people who have had to bandage a lot of their skin up in order to stay safe. Another technology, or science, is the telegraph. Being able to send messages instantly. This was used by, according to Walter Zavotochny, Grant used the telegraph to get intel from spies, and since it was pretty much an instant message, it was used a lot when it first came around. And this concludes my presentation. There's a lot of ways that the Industrial Revolution has changed war technologies, and we're still seeing the effects of that today. Gunpowder has been around for centuries, and it is still used in bullets today. So that's kind of one example of how stuff that's been around for such a long time is still being improved upon and